Hi friends, hello, hi, how are you? I hope you guys are having an amazing day today. Hello. So today's video, we are going to be talking about a situation that has been going on for a little while now that I haven't necessarily wanted to talk about, but I do feel like it's coming to a little bit of an end, and now we can kind of look into it and really dissect what happened, why what happened, and how we could possibly learn from this situation, how content creators in general can learn from this situation. I almost feel like there's a little bit of a bigger conversation to be had here. So let's jump in. So today we are going to be talking about Colleen Ballinger, who I don't think I've ever talked about on this channel because for the most part, it seems like throughout her life, she has remained pretty unscathed on YouTube. Like nobody ever really talks about her. She never really got any drama. If you don't know who she is, she has her own channel, which is like her personal Colleen channel, but she got really, really famous on YouTube for doing this character called Miranda Sings. I have not caught up with Miranda Sings in a very long time. I used to watch Miranda Sings when I was like a kid. I remember watching her a little bit in college because when I was first like 18 in college, like 7 years ago, because I remember my one friend was obsessed with her version of the Cell Block Tango. She thought it was so funny, so we would watch that. But I haven't really thought about the name Miranda Sings for a really long time. Probably like over a year ago, start not watching Colleen, but just knowing of her a little bit more. And that was really just because she had a baby. And I was, this is completely separate from the topic at hand, but you guys, if you've been a subscriber, know how I feel about children on YouTube and how I do feel like it gets to a point where it can become exploitative when you are constantly putting your child in the thumbnail and depending on them for views. And I do feel like Colleen has crossed that line. Every parent has the right to do whatever they want. I personally just don't like it and wish that kids on YouTube had more rights. So when she started doing that, I really was turned off. I know some people really like family vlogs. That's fine. Personally, I hate them. So when I saw that she was getting in all this sort of like drama, I was very confused, but I did kind of keep up on it as it happened. So if you want a very brief recap, I will give that to you, but there's also a ton of videos that go a lot more in depth into like everything, and I will link those down below as well. Today, the main thing I want to talk about is her apology video, but I feel like to talk about that, you first have to provide the context. So, a young man who is under the age of 18, and I will say, again, based on what I just talked about, one of the main reasons I didn't want to talk about this was because it does involve a person who is underage. He is 17 and he is about to turn 18, and he did post the video by himself, you know, knowing what might happen. I still feel uncomfortable talking about it, so I'm not going to be like referring you guys to his video or anything, because watching the amount of hate and horrible things that are said to him when he is a minor truly hurts my soul, like deeply in my soul hurts me. So I am not going to talk really about that, but that's why I'm not referring to it by name. It's not to be disrespectful. It's because I don't want to send any more unnecessary hate to this kid because I feel horribly for him. This kid posted a video basically saying that he had known Colleen since he was, I believe, 12 or 13. He had been a fan of hers for a really long time, and he had built up this relationship with her. He was like friends with her. They talked all the time. In his video, he discussed how she had sent him a pair of bra and underwear, which we'll get into that in a second. He also talked about at length about how she divulged information about her divorce and how that made him uncomfortable. And over the years, they had developed this like big relationship around her kind of telling him about her life, which was really one of the bigger red flags to me. And then he also went on to say finally that the way their relationship kind of ended was that she gave him permission to log into her Miranda Sings account, which is the character that kind of made her famous. I guess that character has kind of fallen off a little bit. So she needed help kind of revamping that Twitter account. So she gave him the password. He went on the Twitter account. He posted all of these like jokes and things that he had run by her. And one of the jokes got a lot of hate and backlash because it was kind of baiting at a coming out video, which, you know, pretty, not the most sensitive. So she kind of freaked out, got upset, felt like she was going to get canceled over it, deleted the tweets, and then he was kind of like, well, I logged out of the account, and then they kind of didn't talk for a while, and then he found out that Colleen's friend Corey, who is also I would like to point out, a grown man, talking in a fandom group chat, which to my knowledge was teenagers, about this child, saying that he and Colleen think that he is running a hate account against Colleen. So he sent Colleen a message with the screenshots to prove that her friend was saying this, was like, I don't appreciate this, basically kind of this long paragraph. He claims that Colleen ghosted him after that and that she didn't respond. Colleen later brought up some proof that she did, in fact, this was kind of an inconsistency in his story, was Colleen later said that she actually did respond to him, and that his mother had responded to her message, and his mother was basically like, please stop talking to my son, do not talk about him. That all happened, and Colleen did not say a word. So that video came out, it got very, very popular. I think it's almost at 1 million views at this point. A lot of people heard his story, and there was a lot of mixed opinions. There was a lot of weird things going on, and Colleen herself was not speaking, but there appeared to me to be people speaking for her. There's a channel called Cody Rants, who I will link her down below. She made a video talking about the situation, and I know that Cody, because I followed her for a little while, I know that she is a fan of Colleen's, and so she made a video talking about it, and it appeared to me that Cody had inside information from Colleen about this whole thing. So it appeared to me that Colleen had been talking to drama channels and tea channels to kind of spin her side of the story. That left a really bad taste in my mouth. And this is no shade to Cody. I have no, like, she made her video, no problems, like whatever. But I will say it left a very bad taste in my mouth that instead of making her own video addressing that situation or composing her own tweet or even just reaching out to this boy and his mother privately and trying to figure out a way to privately handle the situation, considering he is a minor, but instead she's talking to drama channels to give her side of the story through a drama channel. That did not sit right with me. I did not like that. I think that's kind of shady. Corey, her friend, who again, these are both adults. Corey also was sending messages to try to like kind of clear his name and clear up all of these other things, right? As all of this was going on, it felt like my Twitter account basically exploded with old videos and old clips of Colleen doing things that were incredibly offensive. Basically, there was one video of her and her sister Rachel where they are mocking Mexicans and Latinos and doing just gross stereotypes of them, making up this song, doing all these things. There's a video of her fat shaming a person she sat next to on a plane, clips of her saying really offensive things. There's tweets of hers where she's joking about and talking about in a really gross way and trying to make a joke about that. There's tweets and videos of her using coming out, or a lot of people call it queer baiting, where she's pretending to be like gay or a lesbian for clicks on a video. There's one video going around that literally the thumbnail is I'm a pedophile. So there's a lot of questionable stuff coming out about her right now. And one of the big things too is a clip of her telling a story about how she killed her dog. That's not really what happened. The biggest thing that I'm seeing with this is because there are so many clips out there and so much information, I will say I am a little disappointed at seeing the twisting of things that are happening. So like I've seen people be like, she's a pedophile and she killed her dog. And those are not at all true or what happened. So I just want to make that very clear right off the bat. She did not kill her dog. What happened was when she was 3, she pinched her dog. The dog bit her as a, defense mechanism, because that's what dogs would do. She had to get stitches and the dog had to be put down. And she never told anybody until later in life that the reason the dog had to be put down was because she pinched the dog. She did not kill that dog. Like, yes, inadvertently her actions did, but as a 3-year-old, I'm not going to sit here and cancel somebody for not knowing the ramifications of that at 3 years old. I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm sorry. The one thing that I think about that whole story is like, why tell that on the internet? I don't know if it's just me, but if anything like that ever happened in my life, like if I had, there probably are things that happened in my life that are just stories where I was a kid and I did something that had a negative ramification, and I will never tell that story on the internet because you just don't have to tell it. There's no reason to tell it. Why she ever thought it was okay to tell that story in like a funny, joking manner is beyond me. I don't really get it. I don't understand why she told it. She did, but she didn't kill her dog, okay? But I will say, sending a child's underwear bad. Don't do it. I don't feel like that's like needs to even be said, because it's kind of it's not a complicated concept of like, that is incredibly inappropriate, period. There was context provided by it where it was like she was doing a live stream and she was trying on clothes, and anything she didn't want, she was like, oh, I'll send it to my fans. And there was like a bra and underwear set and whatever. I'm gonna get into the underwear thing a little bit more when we talk about the apology, which is right now. Before the past like probably week or so, week and a half, people have been like, please apologize for this. You need to give an apology, especially as more and more things are coming out about her. More and more old clips are resurfacing. People said she needed to give an apology. So she finally did, and this is what I think about that. I think there were definitely some good aspects to her apology. I appreciated the fact that she wasn't like crying or doing anything like extra or crazy. It seemed to be very to the point. It definitely seemed like she had prepared a statement ahead of time and like what she was gonna say, but I don't actually think there's a lot wrong with that. I think with something as serious as an apology for apologizing for things like racism and fat phobia, and you know, all of those things, I do think it's appropriate to maybe prepare something so you actually get it right. I will say I was disappointed that the video was not on her main channel. It was on her vlog channel, which has a significantly less amount of subscribers. I'm the type of person, and you might disagree with me, but I do feel if you make a mistake like that and you're going to apologize, you need to do it on your largest platform. It shouldn't be on, you know, especially for things like racism. Like, just apologize on the actual Colleen channel. Don't do it on your vlog channel. It's very interesting to me that that video was #1 on trending, considering when I watched it, there weren't even that many views on it, but it's right now, currently, it's #1 on trending. It's almost like somebody at YouTube controls the trending page and make sure their most popular YouTubers' apologies are right at the forefront. The thing I feel about the racism stuff and everything, because she did apologize. She did explain that the videos were from like 14 years ago. She expressed that she has changed since then, that she has grown since then. She talked about the racism and the fat phobia comment and the dog story specifically. Those were the 3 that she mentioned. And she apologized for them and said she was really disgusted by the way she was talking at that time, and that she has learned and grown, and that all of those things, right? If those videos were made yesterday, it would be a little bit different. The fact that they were made so long ago, I think this is kind of what it comes down to, because this is a pattern that we've seen, right? We see, it feels like every other day, stuff getting brought up from people's past. And when it first started happening, oh my God, you're terrible. But the more and more it happens, the more and more it's like, what do we do about this? How do we react to somebody having these horrible, awful things get brought up? How do you even react to that? And I think my whole thing where I've landed on it is it's like, you have to decide for yourself. You can't have a channel like mine or a commentary channel or a tea channel. We are not the ones who can make that decision for you. You have to decide for yourself based on who you are and if it offended you. And mostly what I would encourage you to do is not even to be like, did this offend me? Because regardless of if you were personally offended, the content was offensive. It was in poor taste, and it was offensive, and it was racist. It was fat phobic. So I would almost take the, is this offensive enough, out of the equation. And what I would try to decide, if you're like a fan, is, do I believe that this person has changed? Have I seen growth in this person? Do I see enough growth that I want to continue to support them? Do I want to step back for a minute and watch and see if there's any changes? See if there's any more like offensive comments or content? Do I just want to sit back and watch and just like take a break from this person? Because that's totally fine too. Are you just done with this person in general? Because that's totally fine too. You have to make your own decision on if you feel like that person has changed. I don't really watch her, so I'm just gonna not anymore because it's no skin off my back to not watch her anymore. I was never a fan. I really wasn't watching to begin with, and now that I've seen this stuff from her, I don't care to continue to support her. However, you might be a mega fan. This might be like soul crushing to you, these things that have come out, so you might need to make the decision on what you want to do. When it comes to things coming out from a long time ago about a person, we have to kind of be like, do we see that change or do we not? I don't know if Colleen has changed. Based on everything I've seen screenshots from just like a couple years ago of really weird thumbnails and things like that. So as far as the racism stuff goes, as far as the fat phobia goes, I don't know if there's been a change or not, so you have to make that decision for yourself. I will say, I will criticize again, as far as the apology goes, I do think if you're going to title the video addressing everything, you need to address everything. So there was a lot of these scandal things that she's done that she left out of the video. For example, she didn't talk about the stuff regarding her really bad comments. She didn't discuss the really questionable thumbnails that included the queer baiting before. She didn't address those things. So as far as her apology goes, I think it would have been easier for people to say, okay, I've seen growth, I've seen change, if she had actually owned up and addressed everything and not just cherry picked the things that were easier for her to explain. Now I want to talk about the way she addressed the situation with the child who made the video about her that we talked about at the beginning. Give credit. I did appreciate the fact that she blurred any pictures of him or blurred any like screen names. However, obviously the people involved in the situation already know who he is and know his stuff. She did provide context for the underwear situation. Doesn't make it okay. I don't appreciate the fact that when talking about it, she also was like, well, he asked for it, but no matter how many times he asked for it, I should have said no. It's like, just say that you should have not sent it. You don't have to bring in his actions, because regardless, at the time when that was sent, I'm pretty sure he was 14 or 15, so that makes any action that he took to try to get that from you null and void. He's a child, and you need to say no to children without having to say, well, but he asked for it. Doesn't matter, null and void. Shouldn't have even been brought up in the conversation. And that's one thing I will say about this apology is, while I do believe that genuinely she like feels bad, I will say there was a lot of like slight manipulation like that. Little things she tossed in there to be like, I'm apologizing, but I'm also saying this person sucks. Here's what it really comes down to. And this is something that I feel Colleen really glossed over, and this is something I feel a lot of people are glossing over. There was a few things she said in the video that I just felt like was still normalizing the behavior that got her in trouble with this child and why people are angry about it. So the first thing was, she talked about how she loves to hire her fans. She loves to hire them. She thinks they're very creative. She says she's hired fans to do merch. She's hired them to edit. She's hired fans for numerous things, right? And I will say, considering the fact that the majority of her fan base is children, I think it is questionable to actually hire minors, as she did with this kid, because technically she hired him to run her Miranda social media. I will say it's questionable to do that. The way that she said she did it was she does a trial run, and then if things go well, she officially hires them through her company. I take issue with that. There are so many independent artists, editors, and merch designers who are adults who are not a fan of yours who you could hire to do that. I understand that she thinks it's nice because she feels like she's helping to support her fans' dreams and she feels like they understand her, whatever. When you do something like that, where you do a trial run with your fans, where there's already a massive power imbalance between the two of you, when you do something like a trial run, you are setting yourself up for this situation, because that's what she did here. She gave this kid a trial run. He posted a tweet that she didn't like, and now he is incredibly hurt because his idol fired him. You can't be putting yourself in a position where you, as these people's idol, is firing them. That's not an appropriate situation for either party to be in, and I don't think it's acceptable that she's hiring her fans. If she wants her fans to design merch, do like a merch contest where you're gonna pay the winner. If you want someone to edit your videos, I'm sorry, go find somebody, one of the millions of people who's not your fan, to edit your video. I don't understand that concept, and I think it's very, very weird that she is putting herself in a position where she would have to fire somebody where there's already a massive power imbalance, where she would have to fire somebody who has looked up to her their entire lives. In this video, this kid was getting a ton of hate and people were tearing into him because he said that Colleen talked to him about her divorce, and he said he found it inappropriate and that she overshared, but he didn't want to provide screenshots because he didn't want to cross that line or share her personal information. This point of his video was torn apart across social media. People were just going in on him because they didn't believe that Colleen would do that. They were like, why would this woman who's so much older than you talk to you about her divorce? Why would this woman do that? Colleen in her video does not deny that she did that. She talks openly about the fact that she's potentially overshared with fans in the past and overshares on her channel, and maybe at times should have talked to friends and family instead of talking to her fans. This is the part that I took a real problem with, honestly. Out of the whole thing, out of everything, like, everything's not great, all of this stuff is bad, but the fact that Colleen Ballinger is 33 years old right now and was in her late 20s and early 30s when she was messaging this child about her divorce is really, really, really strange to me. I cannot stress that enough. And I almost feel like it brings up a really interesting conversation about parasocial relationships. I feel like the term parasocial relationship is thrown around a ton when it comes to fans of YouTubers and the YouTubers themselves. What the idea is like, you guys know so much about me and you're a fan of me, but I don't really know anything about you. But you in your head have kind of determined that we're like basically friends because you know so much about me, whereas I don't know you, so I can't make that, you know, connection in my brain. I almost feel like some YouTubers have it like reversed, where they feel like they know their fans and are close with their fans because their fans love and idolize them. I feel like they get told by their fans so much, you're the funniest person, you're so great, you're so amazing, like all of these things. And so they almost feel like they know them, but the only thing they know about their fans is that their fans love them. That's all they know. But they get it in their head that their fans are like their family, their support system. But the reality of the situation is, under no circumstances is it ever acceptable to send your personal information to a child. It's not acceptable. You can definitely form friendships with fans. I have a couple of people that are fans of me that I've grown close-ish with over the past few years, but all of them are like in their 20s. I cannot imagine a child messaging me as a creator and me just like telling them about my relationship with Charles. Like, I can't imagine crossing that line. There's always a power imbalance when it comes to like a creator and their fan. There's always a little bit of power imbalance, right? Even if you're like the same age, there's like that tiny bit of like power imbalance for the creator because they're the person watching the creator. They're looking up to that creator a little bit. I feel as though when it comes to a creator and then a child's audience, that power imbalance gets even bigger. So Colleen, being as big as she is, having 8 million subscribers, to me, it is inexcusable that she did not know that oversharing wasn't okay. I do feel like in a way she uses her audience to talk to them and vent to them too much for somebody of her size and her kind of power imbalance over these kids. I have never understood why these big YouTubers are in group chats with their children fans. Gabby Hanna's done it. I think Jake Paul did it. Like, now all of a sudden all of these YouTubers have like texts and they can text their fans, which I know is just a way to like promote things. Like, I know that that's what it's for, but these kids don't really know that. They think maybe if they text Hannah Mojo, she's gonna text them back and like talk to them. Here's kind of where I'll end, because I do feel like I'm ranting a little bit now. I will end by saying the way that Colleen talked to him and oversharing with her fans in general is not okay. And I hope she learned a valuable lesson from this, that you can't do that. You cannot share personal information about yourself with children in that way. They are not your friends, they are your fans. Don't get those lines blurred. I have seen a lot of people calling what she did child grooming or pedophilia, and I wholeheartedly disagree with that notion. The underwear thing was a horrible call, point blank period, but I do not think she had pedophilic intentions in doing it. I don't think her texting him or talking to him about these things, do I think it blurred lines and crossed boundaries, and she liked that she had someone who would always hype her up and agree with her on her side of the story, regardless of if she was right or wrong because they were a fan? That's kind of what I think happened. Do I think she was trying to groom him or manipulate him? No. So no, I don't think she's a child groomer or a predator. I think she's a woman who has been on YouTube for way too long and has lost touch with reality a little bit on what is or is not appropriate to do with fans. And that's just how I feel about that. Anyway, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, or just subscribe, or do neither. I'm honestly just so happy you're watching me. Thank you so much for being here. My merch, my social media, and everything I'm wearing on my face will be linked down below, along with a link to register to vote. That's right, you can click on that link, you can register to vote, and you can be part of your democracy, because it's super dope to do. And if you're not from the United States and that link does not apply to you, please make sure you're staying informed on what's going on around you, using your voice in a positive way, because the world absolutely needs more of that. I love you guys so much. Please social distance if you can, wash your hands, and don't protest the coronavirus, because it's not going to help anything. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!